Good evening, everyone, and welcome. Day number 553. We're here Wednesday night, August the 30th, 2023, on the eve of my birthday tomorrow. 9:01 p.m. Eastern Standard, 6 out in California, and 4:01 a.m. in Ukraine. So we're going to be covering everything tonight, a lot of stuff that we have to go over, and some updates that are very important on things I shared a couple days ago. Going to be really interesting. So thank you guys for being here. Thank you for liking, sharing, subscribing, commenting, all of those. And JDO, you get the award tonight. Happy 39th. I appreciate that. Let's just say some hellos here. LWD Farm. Hello to you there. We have the California Oblast checking in. You're learning geography there. That's cool. Jamestown, Anita Grilleski, welcome to you. Joey Boy 83 checking in. Good morning to you, sir, in Brisbane, Australia. Lynn and Harold down there in the state of Virginia, Greenville, PA. Hernan Conti, my friend from Argentina. Welcome to you. I think my mind's working right. San Jose, California, welcome to you. Let's see here. Anyone seen that video of Prigozhin saying he is alive? Pretty sure it's old, but gets the conspiracies churning. Yeah, he's gone, but they are running those conspiracies like crazy. Ricochet, as always, welcome to you, my friend. And Brutusmatic, Anita, Jamestown, New York. I think it's Jamestown, Pennsylvania, I'm pretty sure. Mark Turner, welcome to you from Erie, PA, up the road from me there. Welcome to you, sir. Hernan, I got it right. Perfect. Thank you. Carl Elwell checking in from Vegas, as always. Jamestown, New York, here from Brutusmatic. Man, I like that name, Brutusmatic. Stephen Phelps, welcome to you, my friend. Pat Shove, Amy Rodabush, everybody jumping in here, and we say hello to you tonight. So, going to be interesting what we're going to be covering tonight. So, let's jump right to it. We're going to start with the map. I can tell you right now, over the last couple of hours, literally, starting about 6:30 Eastern, Ukraine was hitting Feodosia, which is a port down in Crimea. And what's interesting about that is let's do this. I want to show it to you because it's important. Why is it important? Because this is the place. Remember about 6 weeks ago, we talked about Russia was relocating their Black Sea fleet from Sevastopol, coming around and put them more in a safe place here, or part of the Black Sea Fleet in Feodosia. Well, I can tell you tonight that Feodosia was hit tonight, and most are saying it was drones, but there is video out from Crimea where some citizens there, or civilians, are filming, and they didn't film these strikes, but their commentary in the Russian language was, it sounded like jet airplanes coming in, and it was 3 successive hits. Now, what that would mean is, if that's true, it was missile activity coming out of Ukraine, which is within range with the supplies that they have for sure. So I'm thinking it was more that those videos that I watched, not showing them tonight, it's just people talking, saying it sounded like jets. It sounded like jets, and then the explosion, because I can tell you firsthand that drones do not sound like jets. They sound like little helicopters in the air. Now, so that's at the bottom. Go up from that blue marker, you see the next blue marker. Ukraine making another serious push below Orikhiv, and we'll look at that closer on the map in just a moment. Also, go straight up, you see the third blue X. Tonight, Ukraine hitting Bryansk, a city in Russia. They keep doing this. I can just tell you, it's pretty interesting. And you may ask tonight, where is Bryansk? I'll show it to you here. Here's Sumy. And if you just go straight north, Bryansk is right here. So Bryansk hit tonight as well. Now, on the Russian side, they're hitting hard actually in the Bakhmut area. And also, this is the far right, Black X, in the Kupiansk direction. That's their stronger push. And we're going to talk about reinforcements there in just a few minutes. Additionally, tonight, Kherson has been shelled from MLRS systems mercilessly. It's been going on for a couple of hours now. And it's so early in this larger shelling because remember, Kherson is shelled every day, every night, and during the day, but specifically much more activity in the night. And tonight, very, very loud, difficult night in Kherson. Yeah, we're going to, Brutus Matic, man, smart. We're going to talk about Neptunes in just a moment. Rick Berry, Slava Ukraine is as usual. Mark McLaren, hope you're doing well, my friend. Does Ukraine have Navy on the Black Sea? Yes, they do. It is very minimal. They have a few ships. They have a lot of, I say a lot, more gunboats, meaning smaller ships that are carrying landing forces, small groups of soldiers. I've actually shown video of that. But as far as, a major naval presence, no, they do not have a large naval presence. So it's pretty much ruled by Russia there. So that's where we start tonight. Now, if you look here, Ukraine continues to push, and I'm going to go into the live map for you, and I'm going to use Institute for the Study of War tonight because it's showing the line that's broken. Up on this image, you can see the relation of Zaporizhia. It's not that far down here. And of course, Zaporizhia, huge city, million people, very industrial. But down in Orikhiv, I remind you, is the city where we work personally. We spend time in this city of Orikhiv supplying the military. The front line was up in here where the blue line is, and they pushed it back. Russia is pushing on the left and right side, but Ricochet was educating us Monday night. A lot of these early entry groups are making some hard pushes down here, and they've actually pushed on beyond Robotyne now and made some pushes toward the second line. So there were reports out that they're getting to the backline defense on social media. Ignore all that, but they are through the front line and pushing to the second line. So this is really, really good for Ukraine. Really good. Russia is scrambling a little bit here, bringing in more forces, and they're bringing in forces other places as well. So as far as the rest of the front line, everything is pretty much the same. Except up here around Kupiansk, Russia continues to push, and also Siversk is closing up a little bit there. And this is the offensive coming out towards Toretsk and Bakhmut. You can see here on this southern side, Russia made some pushes here. So it's give and take. To be quite honest, this move here is the strongest breakthrough that Ukraine has had pushing through these front lines. So it's good, and we'll see what happens. We'll continue to watch it. Now, can confirm for you tonight, and this would be, I can tell you, it happened near Bakhmut, and you've probably seen it maybe on social media or the news. But I can tell you, confirmed, 2 Mi-8 helicopters were taken out. They did not crash. They were taken out in combat, and 6 pilots were lost, 8 killed total. That news just came out about an hour ago. 6 pilots lost near Bakhmut combat mission. The funeral, they're going to do a public funeral for these 6 pilots and the others lost in these choppers in the city of Poltava. And I really don't know why, but Ukraine actually released the information of where they're going to honor these pilots and soldiers and even gave the church name. So I'm not really sure that's the smartest thing to do. Poltava not being that far and very easily can be touched. And this is just the kind of thing terrorist nation would do. But they gave the time, the date, they gave everything. Little strange on that one. It's going to be September 1st at 10 a.m. in Poltava, and they named the church as well, but I'm not going to say it here, but it's in Poltava. Once that happens, then the soldiers are going to be taken back to their home cities, but there's actually going to be like a military burial for these guys. You know, Ukraine doesn't need to be losing pilots, and over the last week, now we've lost 9, and really good ones. So we'll watch that. Now, I was telling you that around Kupiansk, here you see the map of Ukraine in red, Belarus in pink, Poland in the brown, Russia in the blue. On the Belarusian and Ukrainian border, I placed some stars there. The black star on the far left represents a place where Belarusian and still even some Wagner that is left are continuing to stay very fortified there. Of course, they're saying, we're just here to protect, But NATO and Ukraine specifically has to pay attention to it. Additionally, Belarus announces that along the Ukrainian-Belarusian border, Belarus will be actively engaging in war games over the next few weeks. So Ukraine has to pay attention to that. And you see the black arrow drawn there. Russia has rotated out a majority of their troops from Belarus, a majority, not all, and they have moved them down to the Kupiansk front. Russia is talking about their own offensive that is going to be coming within a couple of months. We'll see, but I can tell you they're moving troops to that area. So we'll see. We'll see what happens, but that's what's going on. Additionally, Russia reinforcing their defenses at the Kerch Bridge. And this is interesting. If I come down here to Crimea, I'll just continue to use this map right here. But if we come down to Crimea, of course, the Kerch Bridge connects to the Russian mainland. And you can see the bridge here. This is signifying occupation, but it also is showing some of the general areas where the sea drones have struck. Russia has deployed sunken ships. They have sank like old ferries, old cargo ships into that area where the drones have been striking, the sea drones, and they have installed some type of chain linking, not a chain link fence, but chain linking. They're doing their best to now block the bridge from being struck by drones. So on the right side of this, they have sunk those ships, and they're trying to put up fortifications to protect that. And you may say, well, isn't that really deep? No, this is actually the Sea of Azov coming into the Black Sea, and it's really shallow. They have, of course, the deeper water channels, but it's really shallow. It's not deep. This is the strait coming through Kerch out of the Sea of Azov down into the Black Sea. So that's what's going on there with Russia. And British intelligence was releasing this, the good old boys at MI6 that we follow, with all the satellite imagery. Those images are on the right there, where they're showing the ships that are down. They're showing everything and explaining to the world and to Ukraine specifically what Russia's doing there with new barriers there in Kerch Strait. So that's what's happening at Kerch. Kadyrov, those of you that have been around for a long time know Kadyrov. Kadyrov is the Chechen president. He's also the commander-in-chief of the Chechens who are fighting in Ukraine. He's the one that when he talks is always saying Don, 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 Don. Well, he came out today on all of his platforms and made public statements that his complete allegiance is to Vladimir Putin, that his complete allegiance and the allegiance of Chechnya is to the Russian flag, and that he will support all the war and standing against the evil of the West. And he was just putting love on Vladimir Putin. He does not want to be the next Prigozhin. So that's what it is. But it's many people wondered, okay, well, now Prigozhin's gone. All the generals are gone. Surovikin, for example, who was one of the main supporters of Prigozhin, they're all gone. And now there's just Kadyrov and the Kadyrites who have kind of been on that stage. If Ukraine can keep striking inside Russian territory consistently, this should force them to pull air defense and possibly troops out of Ukraine. Well, it may move air defenses, but I don't think it's going to pull troops. They've got plenty of troops, and I'm going to give a theory on this tonight in just a minute about these strikes inside Russia. Let's see here. Are big Russian troop planes given a kitchen pass, or are they a target when flying? Seems they would be a big target, or are they well defended somehow? So I do not know the answer to that if they're given a pass, but I can tell you this. Ukraine is very low on air defense weapons. In fact, it's not just air defense, but shells. We're getting into this offensive now. It's slow going, having good success in the South. Joseph Borrell came out today from the EU and says we are not on pace supplying Ukraine with the weapons that we promised. You can see that. It's everywhere on the news. I was going to put a slide on tonight, but not necessary. We know they're behind. So they have to use their air defenses to protect their cities from the missiles and the drones that come in basically every day. So it's focused on protecting their people versus trying to take down some soldiers. Let's see here. So there's Kadyrov. Now, let's get to the big news. It's all big news, but here's some real big news. How did this happen? You say, well, what happen? Ukraine yesterday, put up their largest scale drone attack simultaneously since the war began. They struck Pskov, the Moscow region, Ryazan, Orlov, Kaluga, and Bryansk, basically within a window of time. And in Pskov, we have confirmation that 4 Ilyushin 76s, which are basically cargo planes. This base is 700 kilometers from the border, 4 destroyed, 2 damaged. These are confirmed facts now. And I'm going to show you guys Pskov. The question is, how is this happening? And you know, we're 100% pro-Ukrainian here, 1,000,000%. But, you know, how is it happening? How is Ukraine, and I'm going to answer it, but how is Ukraine getting these drones up to Pskov, for example? If we go here, I'll show you. So, of course, you can see the shape of Ukraine. Everybody knows it now. And 700 kilometers due north, basically, of Kyiv, you have the Pskov Air Base. And here's Estonia. In fact, if I come into it, you can you can see the Aleutians. Of course, this is old footage, old satellite mapping. Let's see here. Image date of this is June the 23rd, 2023. So it's only 2 months old. So that's pretty accurate. This is an Aleutian 76 base. And right here you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, and then some other smaller jobs over there. But you see there's other planes here. 21 Aleutian 76s here at the Pskov Air Base. So you take out 4, you damage 2. It's awesome. There's still a lot left. Of course, they've rotated them out. But how is it happening? Let me show you tonight a couple of video clips. The first one is from the evening news. When this was happening, here they go. Ripping. I've got it voiced over for you. Starting with the breaking news. Last night, the Kyiv regime attempted a massive drone attack on 6 Russian regions at once. An airfield in Pskov was attacked by UAVs. The strike was repelled by the Defense Ministry forces. Here's some footage of our Panzer S-1 missile systems. No casualties were reported, and the airspace above Pskov in the region remained closed for aircraft flights. Pskov Airport will not operate today, and according to the main director of our Ministry of Emergency, the situation in the Pskov region, an Aleutian 76 aircraft did catch fire, and according to the Ministry of Defense, we shot down 3 drones over the Bryansk region, 1 over the Oryol region, 2 more drones were destroyed in the Ryazan region, and 1 over the Kaluga region. Another UAV was heading towards Moscow, but our electronic warfare equipment took it out the territory of the Ruski district in Moscow. In Sevastopol Bay, servicemen of the Russian Navy repelled a drone attack from the sea, and around midnight, an aircraft of the Black Sea Fleet in the waters of the Black Sea destroyed 4 high-speed military boats with landing groups of Ukrainian special forces, up to 50 people eliminated. The scum of the German people are praising this a terrorist attack, calling it psychological influence. That is, the West is approving and supporting these terrorist attacks. So that's clip 1. And that's one of their main news channels, and that's how they run it. He's given the headlines, he's given the updates, he gives a jab at Germans. Now, forget all of that. Here's what I want you to pay attention to. Do you see the shift? You may ask, well, what shift are you referring to? They're making it extremely public now. Early in the war, when anything would happen, it didn't happen. It was our fault. It was an accident. Now, breaking news, 8 p.m., he said, breaking news tonight. We've been hit at the Pskov Air Base. We're hit in Bryansk. We've taken drones out in Moscow. They're starting to start this circulation of, hey, we're the victim. These are terrorists attacking our sovereign land. Exactly what they're doing to Ukraine, they're now going to sell to the Russian people and other nations that are sympathetic that this is what is happening with us. So now we're going to have to rally even stronger. All of this is calculated. It's all in timing. Presidential elections are coming. We're going to need Vladimir Putin to save us. Folks, they would not be doing this that publicly and that dramatic if they did not have a purpose for it beyond informing their people that they've been hit. I'm telling you. Now, Pskov attack here. You can see it. Guy was filming it. This is the Pskov Air Base. It's pretty big. Strike. Of course, those are some follow-up explosions there.
Не пойму, в каком районе. Как аэропорт, что ли?
He's talking about, well, that's over toward the airport. Repeated explosions, and at the end of the clip, he'll say, look at all the black smoke going up. And I mean, that's some serious activity there. This is not spliced. So, Russia experiencing, and here actually is a Russian guy running up to one of the planes talking about it burning at the Pskov Air Base. That's the illusion right there.
Вот эту хуйню, блядь. Пизда.
Yeah, let me catch up on the chat now because you guys are making some really good comments. Daddy 80s cool. Welcome to you, friend. Legit military targets. They're not blowing up residential buildings. They're going after legitimate targets. Yeah, Kyiv regime, Crimea River. Also read reports Russia's investigating the chances of the attack coming from the Baltics. Yes, the secondary explosions, that's what we were seeing there. Yes, the Ilyushin 76s are massive. You may ask how many do they have? In their initial production of them, they made 201. So we'll see how many there are. Hey, Greg, Joey Boy 83. What percentage of the Russian military do you think has been destroyed since last February? What's your best guess anyways? I think it would be, if you take 1.3, 1.4 million minus conscription, let's give it a high number, because I'm not into the runaway propaganda numbers. Let's give it a high number, 300,000 dead or wounded, 25%, 20%. And I don't even think it would be that high. You say, you're crazy. No, I'm not crazy. A lot of the troops that have been rotated in and killed from early in the war, they were just conscripted quickly. They're not even in the real numbers of the Russian military. All those units out east, I was showing you the other night, like from Buryatia, these are not professionally or even reserve troops. They conscripted these guys, trained them up in 6 weeks and sent them to Ukraine as cannon fodder. So I'm not even sure those numbers are in there. I don't, people want to say, well, they've lost 40, 50%. Baloney. They've lost maybe 20, but that might even be high, in my opinion. Now, you ready for this one? Of course. Solovyov, he begins to talk about it. Listen to this cat.
Good morning, dear ones. But wait, is it good at all?
You know what? Hold on 1 second here before we roll that. Does he have a SSSR? For you guys that speak English, if you're in here, it's CCCP. It's in Russian, it's SSSR. Vivek Ramaswamy. Looks like he's got a Soviet Union sweatshirt on. The #1 propagandist Joseph Goebbels, sir. Once again, Vivek, showing your foreign knowledge is much to be desired. All right, back to Solovyov. Commercial over. Here we go.
Good morning, dear ones. But wait, is it good at all? What's good about this morning? Explain it to me. I want to know. We've not addressed, and we will wait today. Wait, let us tell the West right now. Don't you see that Ukraine is conducting terrorist attacks against Russia? But see, the West doesn't care. I don't understand what the embassies of all these Western countries are doing here in Russia. We need to kick them out. British, American, French, get out of our country. The only thing you're doing here is spying against our country. Don't you understand? Then they'll send our diplomats back. Well, it's high time to withdraw them anyway. How? How will we do consular services? Who? Who do we need to do consular services with? We need to go to Londongrad? A massive drone attack on Russian objects. What happened in Pskov? Let's break the situation down into some obvious questions. The NATO border is very close by. Where was the drone launched from? From Ukraine? I doubt it seriously. From the Baltics? If so, the Baltic states must be destroyed and wiped off the map. Oh, not from the Baltics? Okay, diversion and some reconnaissance group? Did they come from the Baltic territory? Still, we need to hit the Baltics with vengeance. So they came in from the Baltics and went back? How did they do that, not even being noticed? They snuck in everything needed to do this? I know our authorities are working on it, but why were they not working before? It means that we do not operate in the strength and authority we need to. Let's free the hands of our law enforcement security services. Finally, let's create SMERSH. That's a Soviet sabotage and espionage. If the attack was carried out from the territory of NATO countries, it is the declaration of war against Russia by NATO countries. This means that our response must be immediate, including the possibility of nuclear. We've talked about this many times. Too many times.
So there you have it. That is Solovyov. And yes, millions and millions and millions will watch it. But it's just like the news. Do you see the transition? I've been showing you guys Russian media since basically day one. And we translate it. We tell you what they're saying in English. Our translations are spot on. And you can see now that they're changing this message that they're the victim and the terrorists are getting them and NATO is involved. And it's got to be a Baltic because they're so close to us. Now, I'm going to show you something just right here. Let's go here. So I've got Pskov Air Base right there in the yellow marker. And over here is the border of Estonia. You say, well, how close is it to Estonia? Let's go from the closest point. It's 21 miles. In kilometers for our friends, that would be 35 kilometers. So let's get to the how. Oh, by the way, the spies, everybody's spying. Reinstate SMERSH. SMERSH was a Soviet logistical organization that ran espionage and spying. And he's calling out the Baltic states, all of this stuff. Okay, how did it happen? I'm going to tell you how it happened. There are Russian freedom fighters working in Russia that are launching drones and performing acts of sabotage. Additionally, there are some of Ukrainian assistance boots on the ground that is assisting the logistics of this. I am confident and have a really, really good source that this base here, yes, struck with drones, was not struck from Ukrainian sovereign territory, but these drones actually launched out of Russia from partisans. So that's how it's happening. Now, it's amazing that it is happening on one thought, but then another, it's not. And I've shared this with you guys many times. It's very easy to move around inside if you can speak the language good. It's no problem. A lot of these people between Ukrainians and Russians have roots in both nations culturally. It's no problem. Many of the cultural traditions not all, but many, have similar roots, mannerisms, curse words, things that are like normal life, you know. You can hide really easy in plain sight. So that's where we're at there. We are heading to the Baltics next week. We can use prayers. Yes, you're heading to it. Ricochet, I love you, buddy. Bring it on, big boy. I think not. Yeah, that's what they're doing, Jeff. They're manipulating both lies and truths. And while I'm at it, big thank you to Jeffrey Burnett and JDO, always being faithful for moderation. Cinnamon, safe travels to you guys. There are pro-Ukraine Russians in Russia. Yes, there are. That's 100%. Perhaps they're helping Ukraine however they can. Pro-Ukraine Russians step up the biggest way several times to help someone I know in occupied territory. Yes, 100%. That's what's happening. I can tell you tonight, guys, on this strike. Now, Bryansk, cities that are closer, Rostov, sure, drones can roll on out of Ukraine, but on this particular attack, no, they were close. They were very, very close. You know, they also hit the target very, very well. So they were close. They had good intelligence, and they accomplished the mission. So that's where we're at on that. Now, let's get back to this. That's how that's happening. That's the illusion. Ukraine updated their numbers. They have destroyed 24 Soviet. Oh my. It's in my mind now. They have destroyed 24 Russian planes. And they're showing the map here of where they have done it, whether it's the newest one in the orange circle at the top or down in Crimea, in Simferopol, and in Russia proper. They have destroyed. That does not include planes that have been shot down inside Ukraine, because they have been. This is planes that have been destroyed outside of Ukraine. 24 planes. And the ones that hit Moscow are coming from Ukraine. They could be. It's not far. So they do have the capabilities now to strike. But, you know, a lot of those further distance targets are coming from inside. I'll go here and just give you guys this. Take that off, pop this back over. Just, we'll go kilometers. There we go. 450 kilometers from the Ukrainian border to Moscow. For miles, 282 miles. And reality is, you start getting into the Moscow city region, about 100 kilometers in. I remind you guys of how big Moscow is. It's crazy big. The outer rings are way out here, and then you go in. If I give you an outer ring measurement, you're 101 miles from the outer ring. Let me pop that down, which is 160 kilometers from the primary ring, which is this one, to the center. You're 87 kilometers. Let's just go across the whole city, 160 kilometers across Moscow, or 100 miles across Moscow. So it's a big region here. That's city region. I'm telling you, this is a massive, massive city. So it's good. We're striking those. Pskov, supposedly named after Ukrainian princes. It's not a mistake. Soviets proper. I did see somebody ask me, would they be renaming territory when the war's over? So I can answer that completely accurately. When Ukraine wins the war and Russia is out, all of the territories that are Ukrainian have already been switched over to Ukrainian names. For example, Bakhmut, the famous town Bakhmut, the original Russian name for it, and the name that is on Russia's maps right now is not Bakhmut, it's Artemyevsk. So if Russia was to hold on to it, Vivek or Donald gives it away, or something happens, it would be renamed officially Artemyevsk. But that's not going to happen. Ukraine's going to win the war, and it will continue to be called Bakhmut. So that all that's really been done. And the transition from Russian to Ukrainian, for example, Zaporozhye is the name in Russian. Kryvyi Rog is the name, Zelensky's hometown, in Russian. In Ukrainian, Kryvyi Rog goes to Kryvyi Rih, and Zaporozhye goes to Zaporizhia. So it's all done, and it'll continue to stay that way. So there, 24 planes, 190 drone strikes, and that shows you the area right there. Where all these drone strikes have taken place in Crimea, down in mainland southern Russia there, and then of course all up towards Moscow and even above that. So a lot of those drone strikes closer to the border for sure could be flying out of Ukraine, and then others that are more north could be Ukraine, but most likely most of those are partisans taken off and hitting. Now, Ukraine is adjusting their Neptune system. So you've probably heard of the Neptunes, and somebody was in here talking earlier about the Neptune. I think it was Brutus Matic, I think. Neptune, Ukrainian developed truck launched anti-ship defensive missile, has now been adjusted, and it can be used for other targets, of course. The range has been increased to 700 kilometers. I just showed you that Moscow's 450 kilometers from Ukraine proper, to the center, to the very center. And it's been extended. So that range there, 200 miles, not accurate. It's now longer. That's the original RK360. And the guidance systems have been updated to be more controllable. So I think, what are those French missiles? Scalps? No, British. Storm Shadows? Ricochet takes Kirby and all that stuff. You know, we're using those longer distance. That's possibly what hit Feodosia tonight. Maybe Neptunes. I don't know, but I'm telling you, you know, you've seen through this war what these Ukrainian geniuses can do. They're so smart with computer and analytics and using only what they have. You know, these guys, which we've shown you before, are putting these grenade droppers on home drones and doing it through 3D printers, and they're completely functioning and working and accurate and controlled with an app to drop them. And these guys are just doing it in their basements, basically, and giving it to the soldiers. It's not a problem for these pros on these upper levels to adjust these things. Scalps, thank you guys. Appreciate that. So we'll see what happens. Remember that name, Neptune. You're going to hear more about it with those modifications. Now, social media went crazy today because of this. I've got it here. Where are you at? Boom, 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 boom. Right here. They went crazy because of this. This is on the left bank of the river. The image you're looking at right now is looking toward the Antonivka Bridge. In the distance on the right is the city of Kherson. In fact, this angle right here shows perfectly. Actually, let me go here for a second. And no, let's do it on, let's do it here. Let's do it here. So, Antonivka Bridge here in the city of Antonivka, which is a suburb of Kherson, and you're looking toward Kherson. Okay, so that's that. If I go to Google Earth, I might be able to position us properly. Oh, not down there. Let's do this. So here's the Antonivka. Yeah, let's do this angle right here. And then I can rotate us like this. And then I can lower us like this. Come on, man. Beautiful. All right. Now, if you see the yellow marker down here, this is the Antonivka Bridge. This is the angle I'm showing you on the image. The city of Kherson on the right, and on the left is little town of Voleshki, and there's some strip houses here along the river. So now with that angle in mind, go to that look. So you have that and that. It's the same. It's showing you how much marshland, how much swampland, how much water, pushing out. So occupied on the left there of this image, Kherson, Antonivka. This video here happened. This is Ukrainians raising the flag. Now, that little Piku thing there, or whatever it is, lots of Ukrainian soldiers carry that. The song you hear is the Ukrainian national anthem.
Героям слава, смерть ворогам.
So, of course, they're saying their glory to Ukraine, glory to the heroes, and death to the invaders, the occupants. So, now, social media did go crazy with that Ukrainians were pushing into Oleshki and they secured. Okay, so let me explain this. Ukraine has secured a position on that side of the river, and they're kind of in secret there. But today they launched raised a flag up high so that whoever could see it would have some morale. That's a story that's directly out of Kyiv, that we've raised that flag to give morale to the people that are occupied because we're coming. So it's very good. And it doesn't mean that Ukraine's not going to be pushing in there. They will eventually. But when social media started running with it and people started going crazy that Ukraine's moved across the river and rolling, it is true, but not the way it was being shared. So Kyiv came out, clarified it. We have raised a flag, and we want the people to know, our people to know, that we're coming. So that's the story there at the Antonivka. Now, fake news tonight. This is coming out. This is all pushed by Russian media. You may see these headlines coming out over the next couple of days. I'm pre-warning you. It's not true. Luxurious villa owned by Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky's family discovered on the Egyptian coast. This is 100% a lie and a manufactured story that is now making its way through mainstream media. This is all authored by the propaganda machine out of the Kremlin to bring validity to their story that Zelensky's a crook. He's not a crook, and he does not have a villa, neither does his family, on the Egyptian coast. So this news is starting to make its rounds. Keep your eye on that. Now, this crew right here, I'm done with this crew. Let me just tell you. On the left, you have Orban, the president of Prime Minister of Hungary, and you have Tucker Carlson, who's basically clueless like Vivek Ramaswamy. They have a very strange relationship, strange combination here. Most media calling it a love fest that they had in Hungary. Yeah, CPAC. You got it. Come on, you smart. Yes, CPAC. We've talked about it. Orban putting out his information that, of course, Ukraine will never win the war. Okay, I'm going to give you, I don't want to use this word like publicly on the stream, but I have to tell you what Orban's nickname is. Maybe you know, maybe you do not know. His nickname is the Pimp of Putin, with the PP. He's Putin's pimp for the West. That's what he's called. Maybe you knew it, maybe you didn't. The Hungarian prime minister, of course, he's deep in relationship with CPAC. He's deep in relationship with Donald Trump, Tucker Carlson, and they spew this trash that these guys just believe and push it like crazy. So Tucker Carlson said in the United States, there's an opinion that Ukraine will win this war. And he says, to me, this does not look like the truth, Tucker Carlson. Orban replied to him, and this is out of their talking in their love fest. This is a lie and misunderstanding, the lie about Ukraine winning the war. He said, it is impossible. Everyone involved in politics understands logic in numbers. Of course, that is an error right there. Most in politics do not understand logic in numbers, but that's what he said. He says they know that this is impossible, and then he tries to be human. This is a tragedy for Ukraine. They will run out of soldiers before Russia. What will matter in the end, it's boots on the ground, and the Russians are much stronger in terms of numbers. Viktor Orban. So, that's where we're at with those clowns, and I do call them clowns. It's just a lot of ignorance, and you guys are not ignorant. You're in here and you're learning. I'm learning. I don't know it all. We just got a lot of good connections and a lot of experience working in Ukraine for 26 years. Speak the language, the Russian language, not Ukrainian, but they give me grace. And we just know that this trash that is spewed, and a lot of it by American propaganda and media, and it's sad because a lot of people believe it, hook, line, and sinker. And that's not to say that somewhere down the line, maybe Orban's done something good, or Tucker Carlson's reported something in the past that was true and accurate and, supporting American values, or some of them. It's not what I'm saying. And that Donald Trump hadn't done good things, whatever. I'm not talking about that. What I'm talking about is in regard to the war in Ukraine and these guys' opinion of Vladimir Putin, they're clueless. 100% clueless. So there's my 2 cents on that. Now, the follow-up stories. These are stories we talked about on Monday, and I'll give you the updates now. Zelensky came out, gave his speech. I translated it for you on Monday, talking of him responding to Lindsey Graham's request for elections. Lindsey Graham saw Zelensky's response, and he messaged today and said, thank you for your response. I understand the logistical nightmare. I understand the finances, and I stand with you 100%. Let's just do our best. So Lindsey Graham was very gracious in his response to Zelensky. Then Podolyak comes out. This is the advisor to the office of the president. He is a spokesperson for the office of the president. So when Podolyak speaks, it is basically Zelensky speaking. Podolyak said, please make it simple. Number one, we're under martial law. Number two, it's impossible to organize elections fairly. Number 3, we are attacked from Russia daily, and mass groupings are targets. Number 4, therefore, it's impossible to campaign. Number 5, we also have a large number, that would be in the millions, of temporarily displaced people. How would we carry out re-registration and voter registration in such a short time? And 6, the financial obligation of elections. We need to put our resources into defending our country. Those are logical, simple, understandable steps. Let's see, Rainwater. Welcome from Seattle, brother. I get what you're saying, but to play devil's advocate, not to make light of it, Ukraine is going to run out of soldiers eventually unless we push harder to help them win soon, right? That is 100% correct. Orban is correct in that one statement. Ukraine cannot win the war of attrition where we're losing a soldier 1-to-1. It's not possible. Therefore, the help that comes from the West, the financial, the military, the one day possibly F-16s, which by the way will not win the war. It's not a panacea, but it's a great help. It would be a great help. No, it's right on that. That is why we've got to do everything we can to help. So your logic there is 100% correct. So we'll see. That's why we're here every day. Vatican City coming out and trying to trying to minimize the damage on what the Pope said to the youth movement there in St. Petersburg, Russia. They were stating, well, the translation was wrong. Well, the meaning was wrong. I got news for you. The translation was right. If you're here tonight, I pulled this back up. It's just a few seconds here. And you say, well, I don't know what you're talking about. What did the Pope say? Here it is. You are the heirs of great Russia. The great Russia of saints and rulers. The great leaders like Peter I and Catherine II. That great empire. Such an enlightened and wonderful culture. A great segment of humanity. Never refuse this inheritance. You are the heirs of the great Mother Russia. Go ahead with this and thank you. Thank you for your way of being, and thank you for the way that you are Russians. So that's just the reality, folks. So they're trying to play damage control and all this mess. The reality is, it's what he said. Praising the great imperialistic history of Russia. Praising their ingenuity and go forward and be who you are. So you're not covering that up or modifying that message or damage control. It is what he said. They can say what they want to. In fact, I can tell you that Estonia called into Tallinn the ambassador from Vatican City to explain these comments, because they're the neighbor right up there next to St. Pete. So they actually called in the ambassador and said, what are these comments? What are you talking about? Because Ukraine lost their mind on this. LWD Farm. Greg, you're more realistic than many others covering this, in my opinion. Well, I deal in reality. Okay. Not only that, a lot of the guys that cover this, and I know about them, are not even in Ukraine. Some are, but some aren't. They're not even there. And just because you are Ukrainian and you're talking about the war, but if you're not there, my respect for that's a little low, because in my opinion, your nation is being attacked and in war, and you shouldn't be out of your country as a young man talking about what's happening in your country, go in there and help your country. If not as a soldier, as a volunteer, working, paying taxes. So secondly, I've spent 5 months on the front lines. You know, we were there in Bakhmut when we still held half of Bakhmut, and my buddies, our buddies in the Azov told us clearly, we're going to lose Bakhmut. We're going to hold as long as we can, but we're going to lose it. We already know. We knew that 2 months before it ever happened. 2 months. So we tell the truth, and we told people in stream, guys, Bakhmut's going to be difficult. We're going to lose it. And so the only way to win this war is to not follow the hype. And I call them out on that. Like I call the Ukrainian politicians out on it. When they say we're going to have Crimea in a month, those are lies. And I call them out on it because that does nothing but damage. We have to be realistic. And I can tell you, they're being more realistic now because the realization has come, we're in a long-term war and we're fighting for our very survival. We can't just go off this hype because people are dying every day. So we try to tell the truth every day. With that said,
Слава Україні!
So there you have it. Now, there's follow-up from Monday. There's Saldo. There's the van riding around the Kherson region. So, Yesli Tinigay. Vote for Saldo for a unified Russia. Do you know what that check mark says on the side of that van? And you're talking about, listen, you're talking about the nation that's fighting the West and the evil of the West. They're standing for righteousness. What that says, if you're not gay, vote for Saldo. That's what it says. Check mark. Yesli ty nie gay. That's Russian. I can read that perfectly. If you're not gay. And I'm not here to talk about issues of that nature. I'm here to say this is what they ride around with on their vans. Who's the Nazis? It's easy to see. Very easy to see. Prigozhin, he's gone, folks. Don't believe the other stuff. Here's his grave. Of course, the grave doesn't prove he's gone, but I'm telling you, he's gone. He's identified. It's another reason Kadyrov came out. That says Prigozhin, 1961 to 2023. Yevgeny Prigozhin, there's his picture. That's in St. Petersburg. Now, I'll tell you what's interesting. This is his burial place. Look at all the security. That is in, listen to me. Do you see this thing right here? Look at his hands right there. Do you guys know what that weapon is? I do, because I've had one in my hands. So I'm going to come back to that. You guys are looking at that picture right there. So if you can see the end of that, that is a weapon. You tell me what it is, and I will tell you in a minute. I'm sure somebody will get it. These are people coming. This is what it looks like where he's buried. Military, security. Oh, Ricochet. Yeah, it's a drone gun. It'll take down a drone in a New York minute. Very interesting. Looks like a big it looks like a big plastic rectangle. It's a trigger. It's got this little computer on the end. It's got a sight. Pretty interesting. Putin snubbed the funeral. It says a lot, of course. Listen, it's easy. Thanks for the update. Still need that as a text tone. You guys want me to convert that to an MP3 and upload it on the website so you can download it? I can do that for you. RF emitter. Thank you, Ricochet, as always. We've got a good team. Got a good team. Now, so that's Prigozhin. It's done. Additionally, more truth. Ukraine still fighting corruption. Chernigiv, the city up north, director of Central Security Services, charging $2,500 minimum to get people out of the draft, and was caught. 9 years in prison. Chernigiv. Kyiv, they're fighting the corruption. The Medical and Military Commission was working in a coordinated effort for doctor's passes. The packages began at $7,000, went up to $15,000. 4 have been arrested, facing 9 years in prison. So, folks, we'll tell you the bad stuff as well as the good, but this is bad and good at the same time. It's bad. The corruption is happening. It happens in every nation, but it's good. They're cleaning it up. So we support that 1,000,000%. Last thing for tonight, Juice. Yes. Listen, they are girls twerking on Ukrainian grave getting 5 years. I don't want to call this desperation yet. It's not desperation. Ukraine's doing a good job. But remember what Peter Pavel said. You say, who's Peter Pavel? Peter Pavel is the president of the Czech Republic. He was the former NATO commander. He's a military general from Czech. Listen, he said Ukraine has 1 year. They have until the fall of 2024, because at that time, it is very likely that support will change out of the United States. And when it changes out of the United States, it will fall apart in Europe. You have 1 year. Now, tomorrow is August 31st, and we're pushing September 1. We're 1 year away from things potentially adjusting. That's from Peter Pavel, the president of the Czech Republic. Ukraine, I know 100% very well aware of that. So this is Juice. Greg, was most needed item on your list at the moment on your Amazon list, and this weather. We're good on this weather. That's why we didn't change it. This weather, we're good. I will be going back to Ukraine right after Christmas because my family will not let me leave before Christmas. And the winter is where we need to help. The gloves, the thermals, it's extremely cold. And that's the most needed item. Summer, we're good. We're rolling. In fact, we've got our team getting ready to leave again and head to Kherson. What is going to happen with the Wagner troops? Wagner's done, guys. They're done. Is Wagner done, or are they going to plan to fight against Moscow? They can go die against Moscow, but no, they can't fight against Moscow. That's, they've got this other leader they're going to have, but they're done. Wagner was Prigozhin and Utkin. It will go away. They will erase it. Thank you for that, LWD Farm. That's the most important thing. So what'll happen, guys, I haven't pushed that now, but as we move into the fall, we'll push the Amazon list. Everything will ship here, and I will do another shipment over, and I will meet it in Ukraine, and we'll pick it up in Lviv, and we'll be taking it right to the front lines to civilians and troops. We'll be streaming it. You'll see everything, and that'll be in the winter. So that's where we're at on that. So finally tonight, Juice. It's really sad. We the follow-up story with Juice, he was their ace, and he's gone now. They have other great pilots, but he was the ace. So over on the right, in the upper right, you see his mother. And you see Commander Mykola Oleshuk. He is a high commander in the Ukrainian military. Yeah, Ghost of Kyiv. So, you're not going to believe this, but when the F-16s come, they will be getting as well the F-16B, not only the A, and the B has the 2 seats. The A has 1 seat. The military is going to put his mom in an F-16, and she's agreed to make one flight. Of course, she won't be the pilot. She'll be in the back, but to make a flight for Juice. It's crazy. Here it is right here.
Ще трішечки і цей не так перевести.
А ви мені пообіцяєте, що я в першому літаку зроблю коло.
Безумовно. Безумовно.
I have no problem making the flight for him.
Добре?
He says that's not going to be a problem. We're going to do it. It's going to be good. So there you have the mom, and it's good. Mom will be in the back. Yes, that's exactly what's going to happen. So, hey, you know, folks, you know, I just said, you know, twice, not supposed to do that, but reality is that guy right there, stud. Juice was the best. So we lost those 3 pilots, and then we've lost 6 more chopper pilots. So it's been a tough week for our pilots, but we'll push on through. So thank you guys, and we appreciate you. So that's where we're at. Let me check the, as always, isn't it interesting about every time we close? They do the same thing, folks. All it is keeping people awake. The air alarms are rolling. Cruise missile alerts, Zaporizhia and Donetsk region. Additionally, yeah. Oh, and I will tell you one more thing. I didn't make a slide, but United States communicated to North Korea today and told them to stop supplying weapons to Russia. Stop it. Not that that means anything, that they'll do it, that they'll stop it, or how we would stop it, but the command did come down. All it tells us is what we already know. North Korea is also supplying weapons to Russia. Easy. So, guys, thank you for being here. Thank you for all that you do. Thank you for the continuous support. Share, like, comment, and tell others. We appreciate you guys. And we will see you guys on Friday night, September the 1st, if not before. Be blessed. Good night.
Слава Україні!
Героям